Hey folks, welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So, here we are fixing to pull that little 350 out. So, it's right there. So I gotta move all this crap out of the way. Then I've got to get Steve out of here. And I gotta set up a little table so we can, store stuff on. Stack stuff and figure out a place to put things while I wait on parts and all that other stuff. So, that little 350, my buddy Jason, y'all guys have probably heard it before, but my buddy Jason, hey Jason, he was moving, couldn't take it with him. He hollered at me, he's like, hey, do you want this? I was like, why not? If I remember correctly, he ran a little low on oil and smoked a bearing or two, possibly. It ran really good, and he had in a little Mazda, little mini truck that he's got. It's actually a really cool little truck. He's got a bag. That thing, pretty much just sits right on the ground. And he had this 350 crammed in it and she'd scoot. So he had that, and he had that motor in there. And like I said, ran a little low on oil, messed up a bearing. At least that's what we think. So we're going to pull it out. Now my hope is that it's something to where maybe it's not buggered up enough to where I actually have to send it out to a shop to get anything polished or turned or anything like that. Mainly because I'm going to use it for the Pontiac, my 1970 Pontiac T37 that I got sitting outside. The goal is to get this motor put together and slapped together and make it hopefully last through power tour, because we're going to take the Pontiac on the long haul for power tour. So if you're not familiar with power tour, hot rod power tour, you can go on their website and check it out. They move it around the country every year. I think last year it was like 1,700 miles, something like it. Was crazy long last year. So last year went from Memphis to Nashville to Hoover, Alabama, to Pensacola, Florida, to Atlanta. This year they're starting in Atlanta, and it's going, I can't remember all the places now, but it's going somewhere in South Carolina, and then 2 stops in North Carolina, then a stop in Bristol. So this year it's only supposed to be like 1,300 miles. So, yay, shorter trip. It's still going to be hotter than hell, but it still ought to be a good time. So the goal is to try to get this Pontiac kind of slapped together and take it. I've already ordered a bunch of suspension and brake stuff for it. Going to go through and update all that stuff. But then that car has no motor, no trans. I've got a 700 R4 sitting over here on the floor that was good. Ran perfectly fine, had no issues out of it. Came out of I think it was an 89 Chevy half-ton pickup that I bought for parts. So the trans should be fine. That motor, like I said, ran low on oil. Should only need bearings, but I'm not 100%. So we're going to get that guy tore down and try to get that thing slapped together and try to basically make the powertrain kind of cheap, mainly because I don't know exactly what's going to live in the Pontiac permanently. So I don't want to dump a whole bunch of money into a 350 and just have it just, get used once and then, sold on Facebook for, $350, $400. So hopefully nothing big is wrong with that. Because if there is, if I send it out to the machine shop or do something like that with it, I'm pretty much going to scrap it. I'm not going to scrap it, but I'll probably just push it off to the side and not worry about it, or just sell the block or something. And then I'll just go on Facebook Marketplace and buy one for $350, $400. So I'm fixing to get out here and start moving some stuff. First off, got to get Steve out, pull him outside, and then move all the crap out of the way. Get that motor and everything pulled out, and figure out a little workstation area for us. So I'll be back in just a moment. All right, so got the motor pulled out. The corner of shame is I haven't seen this section of the floor in quite some time. So anyway, so here's the motor pulled out. I had actually forgot that he'd already dropped the pan and taken the heads loose and pulled the timing cover off. And there's no push rods. Maybe there are somewhere in here. I don't know. So I've got to get this thing, pulling the pieces and parts off. Set my little table up over here to set stuff on. I do recall that he had tore this down, set it off to the side in his shop, and if I remember correctly, he did drywall with the motor open. So there's drywall dust everywhere. That's okay. Like I said, if I can get it, if it needs to be hot tanked or something just to be cleaned, that's fine if I can get it into a shop and get that done pretty quick. If I can't, then we're just going to load it up with some diesel and hit it with the arrows and blow diesel, through the oil passages and everything. Just clean it out the best we can. So I guess I'm going to get to ripping parts over, or pulling parts and setting them on the table, so we kind of start figuring out what's going on here. Alrighty, so we got an oil pan with other parts. So oil pan, got a flex plate, crank pulley, I'm guessing alternator bracket, timing cover, the gasket for the front of the oil pan, or the thing for the front of the oil pan, dipstick tube, and the oil pan, which is really gross and full of all sorts of stuff. Yeah, really got to clean that oil pan up. She dirty. Now, one thing I may end up doing is going through all this stuff and getting the codes off of them, casting numbers and all that fun stuff. So that way I can look them up and see what exactly I've got here. Yeah, head bolts are on there, but not super tight. Oh. Well, I guess this has been sitting for a minute, so it's got some rust down in the cylinders. Alright, what's going on over here? Come on, there we go. Ugh. Yeah, little dingle ball and I should be alright. Alright, so now we're going to take a look. We got a little surface rust down in the cylinders. It's not real bad. I think a little hone, little dingle ball hone would probably clear a lot of that up. Pistons have a lot of carbon on them. Yeah, she's dirty. That's for sure. So we got no lifters. Probably go ahead and do a timing set. What do we got on this side? Again, just some surface rust. Nothing super bad. Probably should have hit this with some fluid film or something like that to keep it from rusting. Most of that should clean up. So we know we got a 350 because of the number 3970010. I remember that from plenty of times before. Here on this pad, there should be a casting number or manufacturer stamp or something like that, and I can't quite see it. We'll try and get that code off here in just a little bit, and we'll look that up on Nasty Z28 and check that. And then as far as the heads are concerned, I don't remember where the freaking casting numbers are on these. I want to say they're inside here. Yeah, there we go. So we got a casting number there. And I would assume this one has one in the same spot. Should be the same number. It looks similar. What is that? 364434. Yep. So, or 354 maybe. I don't know. So I'm gonna look those casting numbers up, see if these heads are even worth anything. I mean, not like it really matters. I'm not looking to build a crazy, race motor. Just something to move the car. So I'm gonna look this stuff up real fast and I'll be right back. All right, so I looked it up. Nasty Z28 website, went through their, casting numbers and all that fun stuff. So yeah, casting number definitely, it's a 350. It says 350 from 69 to 79. Didn't tell me a whole lot, so I was like, okay, what year is it? Yeah, there's a little weirdness there. Actually, there's a lot of weirdness going on here. But looking at the numbers here on the pad, which some of them are damn near wiped completely off. It was a real struggle to see these. But I've got this code here, which I don't know if you can see, CMJ. That decodes to a 1974 350 that came out of a police package. So
it's got a cop motor.
So police package 350. Come over here to the heads, and that's where it really gets fun. So I got two different casting numbers. It looks like a 6, but it's probably a 5 because I couldn't find a 364 434 anywhere. I was able to find 354434, and these look to be 1979 to 1980 something 305 heads. So small 172 intake and 1.3 exhaust, something like that. Not very good. So and they're off at 305. So 305 heads on a 350 with a hog gas cam. Hell yeah. So 60cc chamber is what it's coming back as. So yeah, I don't know what we're going to do here, but we're going to roll this guy over here in just a minute and check it out. All right, Crook's here. So we're going to pull one of the rod caps off. I guess this is what, number 1? Number 1. Still got oil on it.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like it was
I was expecting it to be like, dry from sitting for I don't even know how long.
Bearing did its job. It pulled out some of the...
All right, let's just stack these up over here.
There's a slight groove, but like I said, it's one of those that we could probably buff and see. Let me do it this way.
Yeah, so the rule of thumb is if it catches your nail, it needs to be, cut down, machined. That one, yeah, I see what you're saying. Just barely enough to grab the nail.
Yep. And it may be not enough to, depends on your budget, right?
Yeah, we want to knock these out.
Yeah, they'll push.
Yeah.
You got to push through that rust.
Yeah, I know.
Get you a
Let me get my hammer.
Yep. Hammer and shove.
Oh, dude, tell me this thing's going to fit. There it goes. Numero uno.
Now look, see copper?
Yep.
So the copper finish in there is, that bearing was about done. Got scarring on your sides of your piston, which means, actually, let's put this down here.
There's a little bit of slop in there. Oh, this guy's just... He is just in a spot that's difficult. Gotta clear the block. Ah. Finger.
You're gonna feel that one.
Yeah, right on the knuckle. There you go.
Yeah, it's a high mileage motor.
Yeah. Ooh. I can even see that. Good God. Yeah, look at this. Little, wow. Holy hell.
Yeah.
I kind of want to roll the motor back over now and just look and see what number 2 looks like.
That's a bad day.
No, I can see what number 2 looks like. Good God. All right. Well, that right there tells me I'm not using this motor.
Not without machine work.
Yeah, I mean, look at that freaking cylinder wall.
I mean, that's scary.
She is chewed.
Actually, That's not bad. Run your finger on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Ball hone that sucker right out.
It's just way down. Well, actually, no, none of it's really too terrible. Okay.
We're not done yet.
Yeah.
Don't count her out yet.
Yep. So we got a broken stud on number 3 here.
It's all that horsepower.
Yes. All that llama thrust. Yeah, they shouldn't do that. I can get my finger in there to get to that. Yeah, he must have pulled the bearing out, or it's completely gone.
Or
so that's
no.
definitely been riding on it. May have.
I think he pulled it out because it's missing both.
Is it?
One of the things they usually do is they'll slide over top and go on one side or the other. Better they just completely didn't put it in. We know that's not the case. We've seen this motor run.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of scary that they...
Yeah. He probably pulled it apart and discovered that it was...
together.
Yeah. Discovered that the bearings were shot and pitched it.
I mean, here, you can come feel this one. Feel that little bump in there? But Halen's motor was the same thing. I ball honed it, and it went away.
Really? Yeah, that one does grab your nail a little bit. Are we worried about mains?
I would be.
Fair enough.
A fresh set of mains is cheap.
Yeah. All right, so I need to break all those loose. I don't think he popped the mains.
Well, I can tell you this, there's no end play. So it's a stage up already.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got a leg up on what we've been working with.
You're going to have to go ahead and pull this dude too.
Yeah. Go the right direction.
Righty tighty, lefty loose.
Get another rag.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got into that.
Yep. But if the bearing did its job,
Yeah, bearing did its job. The crank ought to be all right. So,
hold on to the bearings.
oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah. It's nothing major in there.
All right, so number 1. Time to spot the stack stuff.
Yeah, he robbed the bearing.
Oh, so I pulled the bearing. So that's what, number 3?
Yeah, you gotta skip one here. Because I can't get a whack on that yet. This one's loose, that one's loose.
Yo, good catch.
Woo!
Woo!
High mileage, high mileage.
Not what you want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one either. Which one's this one? Number 4?
Yep.
Yeah. That is all down in the brass.
Now that has a center groove normally. They put a lot of
Yeah,
oil on these. I gotta get this timing belt off, or timing chain off. Timing belt. Who puts that on a 350? Come on, be a friend of mine. Oh.
Oh, is there a lifter stuck in there?
No, that's the oil pump.
Oh, the fuel pump.
Yeah,
Fuel pump rod.
Right now I got it pushed up. I mean, it's up. But
I was going to say.
you're going to have to pull that. 7/16.
Damn it. I just looked at it like, I think it's smaller.
Yep, I would hot tank, new cam bearings, and find a place that actually hot tanks.
Yeah.
Not this new jet pressure wash hot. I mean, this cam relatively
Looks
new.
pretty good.
You can definitely tell it wasn't part of the motor originally,
Yeah.
but we knew that.
So I'm gonna roll her over and take a look down the cylinders a little bit better.
Yeah. Always. You got a measuring tape? Or not a tape, but a die caliper?
I do not. One of the few things I've yet to buy.
Yeah. This cylinder is good. This one's...
A little scarred.
Yep. Like I said.
Oof. That's a good one. I mean, you can see that that whole cylinder's just marred to hell.
And see, it caught from way up here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, I don't know, the more I look at this, the more I'm like, yeah. I mean, that one's actually even pitted into the, so the rest is actually pitted in now.
She wasn't treated well.
No, she was used and abused.
And then
So I
used
guess I just
and
need to-
re-abused.
So this side didn't look as bad,
Right.
except for right here where the cylinder, or the
It
piston
pitted
was
right
sitting.
there.
All right, so we got her all tore down, which y'all guys saw. So we got a table full of pieces and parts, pistons on the ground. This thing, we went and looked on top of the piston, one of the clean ones. It is 30 over, so it has been bored out to 30 over. Cam actually looks good. Crank actually looks pretty good. Probably just needs a good polish. Crank ought to be fine. Cam actually looks just fine, so probably still run that cam with no issues. Obviously, it needs new bearings all the way through. It looks like Jason pulled a lot of the bearings out, but a lot of the bearings that are in here are pretty chewed up. Like, you know, this guy. It should not be, you know, that copper brass color. So yeah, we got a lot of chewed up bearings on the mains and on the rods. So and obviously, you know, like I said, Jason had pulled a few of them out, so they're just not there. Looking down the cylinder walls, so looking down the cylinder walls, you know, there's some good scratches. I really need a third arm here. There's some good scratches, you know, like right down in here, you can kind of see some scratches. They are just, I mean, I can almost catch them with a fingernail, so they're not that bad. Those would probably hone back out with no issue. But if you look right there where the tip of my flashlight is, you can see there's a good little mark there. That's where the piston was resting when this guy was just sitting. The cylinder's actually not terrible. About the same though. Still got good vertical scratches in it. But like right here, right there, you can see that's some pitting. Yeah, see if I can't get this guy in there too. Yeah, you can see the pitting where that where the piston was sitting. So it's pitted up pretty good. And it's like that in, I don't know, 3 or 4 of the cylinders are pitted up pretty good. So that's on the driver's side. So our odd numbered cylinders, they're salvageable, you know, might hone out, might need to be punched. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. But we come over to the passenger side of the motor. This side's where it gets ugly. Definitely seen worse, but woof, yeah. So we come in here on number 2, and we definitely have more, you know, vertical scratches, and they're definitely deeper. Fingernail actually does catch on a few of them, like right there, it's catching. Come here on number 4, there's quite a few. Again, like there's a really bad one right there. 6, that's going to be the worst. So yeah, 6 is really in bad shape, and my fingernails catching on a lot of them as I'm going through there. And then here on number 8, again, we've got, try not to blow out, I got a big pit right there, and that's actually pitted really good. Might hone out, but probably not. Yeah, so she probably needs some machine work. You know, probably punch it out a little bit bigger. Yeah. Plus, it needs all new bearings, which, you know, pretty much knew that. One of the pistons, the skirt, is really in bad shape, and I think that was the one that came out of number 6. The skirt's chewed up pretty bad on it. The cam looked fine, but this thing's going to need to be cleaned up, you know, hot tanked, flushed out really good, because it's had all sorts of metal pass through it. Crook was saying, you know, go ahead and do cam bearings while you got it in there. So in order to kind of get this thing quasi-reliable, even doing this thing like super dirt cheap build up, you know, a sloppy rebuild, if you will, it's going to have to go to the machine shop, get tanked, get cleaned out, probably go ahead and get new cam bearings. You know, like I said, new main, new rod bearings. Those parts are not that expensive. I mean, we're talking, you know, a couple $100 maybe. But then you start running into that sensuous thing. You know, cinch is in there. Might as well. You got it all blown apart. Why not go ahead and drop a few extra bucks here and there? Before you know it, I'm going to have, I don't know, $1,000 in this motor. And it's still just a little 2-bolt 350. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shelve all the parts that I've got for it. You know, probably put some of them back on, you know, put the crank back in the block, bolt everything back down, just kind of hold it all there. Just kind of shelve it for now. Maybe one day, you know, buy some pieces and parts here and there, and then maybe one day do something with it. Maybe not, I don't know. But for the kind of money that I'm gonna have to put into this guy, I can buy a used motor that I know runs and really doesn't need much work for like $400 or $500, you know. Be it another 350, or even go the LS route. I mean, hell, you can buy complete vehicles for $1,000 and $1,500. Yeah, mileage may be a little bit high, but you know, these LS motors, they run a long time. So, you know, it's one of those, it's like, okay, what's the wisest way for me to spend the money on the Pontiac? Granted, whatever I do is not going to be a long-term, potentially not going to be a long-term plan for it. but maybe it would be like, yeah, maybe the LS would work. I don't know. So I don't think I want to put this 350 back together or build this 350. I think I'm just going to buy something else that I can just pull out of something, or just a running motor. You know, there's a lot of guys that are doing LS swaps and they're pulling old 350s out and putting their LSs in, and they're just like, just come get the darn thing, you know, $300 or $400, and you got a, you know, pretty good running 350. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to do anything with this. So there's also the time situation too, because here we are last week of February. So we've got March, April, May, boom, there's June. We're going on power tour. So hopefully I can find something, you know, for the money that I've got kind of set aside to where I can actually put a motor in that thing. Absolute worst case, I'll just pluck the motor out of Steve temporarily and slap that in there. But so yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now. So I guess I'm gonna go back and get this guy kind of slapped back together ish, and yeah, we'll get into something else today. So catch back up with you here in just a minute. All right, folks, so end of the week now. It's been a busy week. Haven't had really any more time to get out to the shop this week. It's been kind of aggravating. What I have actually had some time to do is start hunting for motors. So I'm kind of at a crossroads, so to speak. You know, I've got a darn good 350 here in Steve. You know, it's a Vortec 350, fairly low miles, probably somewhere in the 30,000 mile range by now. So, you know, I could always pull that out and set that over in the Pontiac temporarily. Big John's got pretty much a brand new big block in it. You know, eventually I do plan on putting a 12 valve in Big John. So, you know, that motor could come out and go on the Pontiac. I think it's only got 7,000 or 8,000 miles on it. So yeah, very low mile motor there. You know, it's one of those, I'm like, all right, do I pull the motor out of one of the trucks, throw it over in the Pontiac? But then that truck's not going to get driven for a while. I love my trucks. You know, so it's one of those, like, save some money and do it that way, or start really hunting and see if I can't locate a good used motor that I could throw in there. And so I've been hunting, and it's the way it always works. When you're looking for something, you can't hardly find it. When you're not looking, they're everywhere. So so there's a few motors out there I got my eye on right now. They're a little bit more than what I was initially wanting to spend, but I'm sure one day I'll have something I can put that motor into. Like I said, with the Pontiac, I'm not 100% sure what exactly I'm going to do drivetrain wise on the Pontiac. I do know one thing is, unless I can buy a good running Pontiac motor, you know, for good money, not stupid money, but for good money, like a good running solid Pontiac motor, you know, say I bought one that was already rebuilt, done, ready to go, and it cost $5,000. Okay, I might could go that route. But God, Pontiac motors are so expensive to put together. It is ridiculous. Even buying a one that needs to be rebuilt, like the one I have, it needs to be rebuilt. And just buying all the pieces and parts and all that stuff. I mean, golly, just to do kind of a standard rebuild on that 400 that I've got, it's probably going to cost $3,000 or $4,000, just to get that thing, you know, to stock-ish, you know, numbers. So I'm thinking I'm probably not going to put the Pontiac motor in there. I'm probably just going to, as much as I hate to do it, I'm probably just going to say, you know what? Pontiac motors are just, they're so expensive. I love them. They make tons of good power, but I just, my pocketbook can't support that. So I think what I may end up doing, and I'm going to go through, I'm going to pull all my Pontiac pieces out that came with the Tempest when I bought it. So it's a 69 or a 70 block. It's a 400. I don't know if it's been bored yet or not. it's got the crank and the pistons and the rod, and, you know, or the rods and all that crap still in it. I've got, I think 3 or 4 sets of heads that came with it. So I'll probably end up just just listing those things on Marketplace, see if I can't get them gone. That gives me a little bit more money to where maybe I can buy something a little bit nicer motor wise, to put in the Pontiac. So that's kind of the plan right now. The question I got for y'all is, what would you like me to put in there? What would you like to see me put in there? I've got my eye on a couple big blocks, Chevy big blocks. Again, great power, not nearly as expensive to build as a Pontiac big block, or a Pontiac block for that matter. Yeah, I've got my eye on a couple big blocks. I've got a good 4L80 transmission. I've got a good 700 R4 transmission, so I'm not worried about the transmission side of it. I could LS swap it. Yeah, it's one of those. I like the LS because it's a great platform, but man, I kind of want to be different. Yeah, different. Let's go with the big block Chevy. I mean, come on. No, it's one of those that it's a tough call. While I don't expect whatever I put in it to stay in it, it very well could if I like the combo. So, so what do y'all think? Throw a big block in it, throw an LS in it. Like I said, you can find parts trucks usually. So you got, your Silverados, your Sierras, Yukons, Tahoes, and Suburbans. Suburbans are usually the best bang for the buck because usually they don't have a ton of miles on them, and people are just like, yeah, I don't want this big old thing. So they're usually selling them pretty cheap. So that's an option. It's one of those. I don't know. But currently in my area and within a few hours drive of my area, for a good solid 350, that's just a 350, that may have, a hot cam in it or something like that, still looking at around $1,000. Big blocks, I'm looking at a few of them. They're ranging from around $1,000 to $2,000. There's a few that are up there, but it's kind of one of those. I don't know. I found quite a few trucks and SUVs and stuff like that with the LS. The 5.3, a couple 6 liters. A few of them have good trans. Most of them are actually, they're just selling them because they're like, needs a trans. I'm not worried about it. So, there's a lot of options there, and they range on those LSs. They range in mileage from, anywhere in the mid 100,000 range. So 150, 180,000, all the way up to 300,000. I'm not going to really touch on a 300,000 mile motor. I'm not going to buy one just to have to rebuild it. So yeah, I'm in a tough spot trying to figure this out. I actually called my buddy Crook last night, and me and him sat there and bounced ideas back and forth, trying to figure out motor, what to do. Where should I go on this? Right now I'm leaning heavily towards a big block. Like I said, there's one I found that I really, really like. It's a little high on my price range. But I think I can make it work. And it's a healthy sounding motor, and it's complete carb to pan. So, it's one of those, I literally could buy it, slap a trans on it, put it in the car, ready to go, So I don't know. It's one of those. I think that's the way I'm going to go, is probably big block, because eventually Steve's going to get a big block eventually. Whether that be the block out of Big John, or if I buy one for the Pontiac that ends up over here, I don't know. Well, and then the other thing I was thinking, I was like, well, I could save up for another month or two, and I might be able to squeeze out a 12 valve. So then I'd have a 12 valve that I could put in Big John, and then pull the motor out of Big John, put it in Steve, and then take Steve's motor and put it in a Pontiac. I was like, that's a lot of moving and shaking. That's a lot of work. That's going to be a lot to do, for me really only having time to do it occasionally during the week. Most times not, but occasionally during the week, and definitely on Saturdays, part of the day on Sundays. I just don't think I have the time to get basically 3 engine swap's done in a couple months. So drop a comment down below and just tell me, what do you think? I mean, I'm open to suggestions at this point. You know, I'm trying to keep my budget at around $1,500 max. You know, for now, like I said, I could probably take a few weeks or a few months. I might could bump that up to around $3,000. I have to eat bologna sandwiches a lot, but I could probably make that work. I don't know. So anyways, drop a comment down there. Throw me some ideas. You know, absolute worst case, I found a couple 6-cylinders floating around out there, some old 250s that people pulled out of their C10s. You know, good miles, good running motors for like $300. And I'm just like, well, originally it was a 6-cylinder car. So I could do that. It'll at least run. It won't be burning no tires off, but you know, it'll get A to B. I guess that's going to do it. You know, it's kind of a short, not a whole lot going on this week. I've had a lot of stuff going on in the house that's really taken a lot of my time. So I haven't been out here. I think this is the first time I've been out here since Monday, and it's Sunday. So so it's been a hell of a week. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I do appreciate y'all watching, tuning in. If you like the video, be sure and hit the like button. If you made it this far and you aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's just right there. Doesn't cost nothing. Helps the channel grow. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, whatever, throw them down there in the comments. I read through them and usually answer back on them pretty quick. So feel free to do that. Plus, I like getting questions and comments. It lets me know that y'all guys are paying attention and y'all have an opinion. So anyways, again, I appreciate all of y'all for watching. And I guess we'll see y'all next week. We'll get into something. I don't even know what just yet, but we'll get into something next week. And just remember, it ain't got to be perfect. Just good enough. And we'll talk at y'all later.